Hey everyone, welcome back to the Niche Pursuits podcast. I'm your host, Spencer Haws with nichepursuits.com. And today we're doing an episode of This Week in Niche Pursuits News. So welcome, and we have Jared with me here as co-host. Jared, how you doing today?
Very well. Good to be here. Excited to record today's news episode.
Yep. It should be good. We've got a few different news topics to cover. Google is always changing, and so we're going to give you up-to-date news on what's the latest there. And then, as we always do, we're going to jump into a couple of shiny objects that you and I are working on. It just so happens that we're going to talk about a similar subject today as far as our shiny objects. So that will be fun. And then finally, we're going to bring it home with our weird niche sites. Each of us have a weird niche site that we found out in the wild, and we're going to talk about those and see if they're making any money and, just glean any information that we can. So that's always kind of fun, but hopefully educational at the same time. So,
well, last week, Spencer, you and I were matching in attire. This week, I am now matching you in microphones.
Yes, we've got a new addition to the microphone setup. So
Still
good
feel
choice.
like I got this thing right in my face. I've got to work through that. I don't know how do you manage the boom and anyways, the mic is awesome though. I think it sounds a lot better. So I'm very excited to record today's podcast and take it for a test spin.
Yeah, so let us know in the comments if you like Jared's sound better than in previous weeks. That'd just be good confirmation of, hey, we made a good choice on the mic. So
hopefully it makes my voice sound deeper. You know, I have kind of a higher pitched voice. I don't know. Is there a setting for that?
I don't know. I'm sure there is, but
fix it in post.
That's right. We'll fix it in post.
Hey, just a quick break. I hope you're enjoying the podcast so far. Just a quick reminder that today's episode is sponsored by Search Intelligence. Now, I've got a short clip from Ferry with Search Intelligence showing you how their agency built digital PR links to a client's website.
What a crazy campaign. How to Sleep on Your Back. This campaign got us links in Huffington Post, Glamour magazine, Mirror, and lots of other great news publications. Let me show you how we've done it. It was so simple. Our sleep client provided us with expert commentary about how to train yourself to fall asleep on your back. They also gave advice on why it's best to sleep on your back. Once we've had this information, we went to Muckrack and searched for journalists that consistently write about sleep and well-being. We've sent these journalists the advice provided by the client, and within 1 day the links started flowing in. Glamour magazine, a DR81 website, picked it up. Huffington Post, DR88, Mirror UK, DR90. A massive avalanche of links blasted to our client's website with this simple yet effective campaign about how to sleep on your back. I hope this inspires, and I hope you'll use this technique to land massive links to your or your client's website.
If you want similar link building PR campaigns for your website, head to search-intelligence.co.uk and get in touch with them now.
So let's jump into the news. Today, Google has announced a couple of different things. So they mentioned that there are some changes to the how-to and FAQ rich snippets. So I will just share this on my screen so that people can see what I'm referring to. But this is on the Google developers blog. Essentially, they say to provide a cleaner and more consistent search experience, they're changing how rich snippet results are shown. And in particular, they're referring to FAQ rich snippets. And they are it says they're going to be reducing the visibility of FAQ rich snippets and limiting how-to rich results to desktop devices. Okay, and the changes should be finished rolling out within the next week. And then it says, where does it say that government and university entities, let's see, going forward, FAQ rich results will only be shown for well-known, authoritative government and health websites. For all other sites, this rich result will no longer be shown regularly. Sites may automatically be considered for this treatment depending on their eligibility. So it says, while you can drop this structured data from your site, there's no need to proactively remove it. So it doesn't really matter if you have the structured data for FAQ or how to on your website. Google's really not going to show it. The visibility is going to be limited to, as it says, only on desktop. So I guess mobile will not show it at all. And then, if I'm understanding correctly, even on desktop, it's still going to only show from authoritative government and health websites.
Yeah, there's a lot here. So I sort of wish they had announced at the same time because it's confusing. We know that how-to structured data will still exist only on desktop, which predominantly makes up under 50% of SERPs anyways. More people are searching from mobile or tablet devices these days. And then when it comes to FAQ schema or rich results, I thought it was going away completely, no matter what, mobile or desktop. It's going away unless you're an authoritative government or health website.
Right. Okay. So there's a little bit of a gray area about where it's going to be shown, or if any normal website will have these results shown. So does that mean that people should no longer be targeting these types of FAQ questions, right, to show up in like the people also ask, results? And I don't know the answer to that. That's just sort of rhetorical question for people to be thinking about. I don't. I think that if it still is valuable content for your reader, if you think, hey, it makes a lot of sense to include a FAQ section, I think that is still good content to be adding to your website. And that type of question and answer can still show up in the SERPs, and so it's probably still good to have. It's just it may not get either as much exposure or may not show up the way that it used to in the past.
Yeah, there's several questions that come out of this. I mean, ever since they introduced FAQ, like let's center around FAQ schema maybe for the sake of the conversation. I think more people use FAQ schema than how-to schema. I don't know that for a fact. But ever since this was launched, I think it was 2019, it's become something that a lot of SEOs will utilize, and it allows you to show up with certain questions to enter into the SERP. So people, maybe, the example they give here is you're ranking for the term, what is robots.txt? But because you marked up several questions in your article with FAQ schema, you're actually also showing up in the SERP for, does my website need a robots.txt? What program should I use to create a robots.txt file? So those are going away. And and the reality, though, from my understanding, managing an agency that has access to a lot of websites, is that over the last year or so, the traffic from Google for FAQ snippets has dropped pretty dramatically. So I don't know if there's going to be a big immediate effect for a lot of websites. Now, that being said, I also saw someone we just had in the podcast, Tony Hill, post and say that one article of his was driving, I think he said like 5,000 clicks per day from FAQ, right? So that's
Wow.
a massive loss. That's 150,000 clicks a month that goes away if that turns out to be the case. So that's going away, but I think you bring up the broader question, which is, should we still be doing FAQs just to bolster our content? Even though it's not getting marked up as FAQ schema, do we still want it to show up in PAAs? Does it still help an article become more topically authoritative, even though if you're not going to get the benefit from the structured data?
Right. I think if the overall idea is you want to be answering the question as in-depth as possible, or giving a good answer to the query that people have. And so it probably still makes sense in a lot of circumstances to do that. Now, I also know that you found a couple of tweets from people, SEOs, that had some comments on had this particular change. One of those here is Lily Ray, right? That she's basically saying that a lot of people have arrived at the same conclusion here, that they're angry, that people believe this is clearly a move for SGE to provide answers instead. So this is a way for Google instead to just have AI generate those results and provide the answers. So that's one way to look at it, and maybe so. I don't know.
I mean, I've seen someone say they're going to go remove all of their FAQ structured data so that Google is less likely to grab their answer and serve it in SGE. I'm not sure about that, They probably already have it anyways because you marked it up. But I mean, there's some credibility to it. It makes sense. We've been testing SGE on the podcast for a couple of weeks on and off now, and we see that they get a lot of data that mimics what I think we see FAQ Schema doing. So there's something to it. I have no idea if it's true, but there's definitely something to it.
Right. Yeah. Potentially there is something to that. And then one other tweet here from Marie Haynes. I don't know if you had reviewed this one, or what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah. So this was what someone had commented on, and she kind of piggybacked off of it. But basically, the idea that in 2019, when FAQ, rich snippets, and Schema was introduced, it was basically a way for us to tell Google how to identify in content what questions and then viable answers were. And now through their machine learning, they've been able to learn how to determine that without the need for Schema anymore. So thank you very much. We don't need it, and we don't need to serve your answers anymore either.
You've done your job for us, army of content creators. We have everything that we need from you. That's one way to look at it.
I mean, there's the same theory exists with a disavow file. Not that we need to go wade ourselves into that hot water, but the idea that all you're doing by disavowing bad links is teaching their algorithm how to identify bad links. And then they've had the disavow file for a while, and then, lo and behold, they kind of announce, hey, you don't really need to disavow anymore because we kind of know how to identify these. And, it has some similar ideas and threads here.
Yep, that is true. Google has it all figured out at this point, thanks to all of us, right?
Yep. Well, yeah.
No, very good. So there's been some changes there. A little bit of a shift here, and some of this news might be old for others, but this is something that I just came across. There was a LinkedIn post from the COO of Word Agents just 2 days ago. So it's recent that this particular post was made, even though there's been some rumblings, I think, for about the past month, as we'll share here. But I'll go ahead and share my the LinkedIn post that I found. So this was from the COO. His name is David
Peterson, I think.
Peterson. Is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah, David Peterson.
And he was the COO for 2022, and then a good portion here of 2023. And he was really excited, a great business. But AI really did some damage to the business. There's a sort of a 15-page little book here. But basically, the highlight that I wanted to give here that he shares is that there was a catastrophic decline to the Word Agents business, 70% revenue loss in the wake of AI. So they experienced a huge plunge in revenue, a staggering 70% loss, and they had been trying to figure out how to overcome this. And boy, that is just tough to overcome. And unfortunately, it makes sense. Instead of hiring authors that maybe, cost Word Agents 4 cents a word and they charge you 7 cents a word, you can get AI to create content that's just as good, but it's significantly cheaper. And so we've seen that major shift since ChatGPT and other AI tools have come out in the last 8-9 months. There's been this dramatic shift in content agencies like Word Agents. They saw it as 70% drop. And we've also talked about niche website builders, Make Lemonade. They went out of business, went into not bankruptcy, but administration. Yes, administration for the UK company. And so I don't know exactly what the takeaway is here, other than we are experiencing perhaps an unprecedented shift in the way that content is created, and it's having a major impact on content agencies.
I think there's another factor at play, and I can say this just from some of my own projects that I have here. I'm interested to get your take on it. Certainly, there's the people who've gone all in on AI, perhaps had been using Word Agents, Make Lemonade, all these companies before. But what about just the trepidation that also seems to exist? How many people who were gung-ho about their website are a little bit more cautious about investing in it until the dust settles. Maybe they're still doing some content, but not as much. Maybe they're moved into more maintenance mode rather than growth mode. Maybe they've, instead of investing in 2 or 3 sites, have said, I'm only going to work on one website right now until I see where all this goes. And I wonder how much of that also is at play, because certainly there's a lot of people who have figured out how to write, edit, publish, incorporating AI and not needing some of these more generalist writers. But also, I just wonder how many people are not investing as much in general, even though they're not using AI.
Right. I think that makes sense. They're taking a wait and see approach, right? And
Yeah.
so if enough people are taking that sort of wait and see approach, even if it's like only 3 or 4 months, like, I'm going to hold off on investing in content for 3 or 4 months, Word Agents had, it says, $1 million COGS, cost of goods sold, balance, right? So they have this huge expenditures every month, right? This whole army of freelance writers, $1 million, right? And revenue drops by 70% because people are either using AI to produce content or taking this wait and see approach, right? They don't have 3 or 4 months of the business when you got $1 million you're spending. That did, anyways, long story short, it's done significant damage to the business. David's job as the CEO was to go through and find cost savings and way to operate the business more lean so that they could weather the storm. And many people lost their jobs at Word Agents. And in fact, David essentially recommended, it sounded like, that he stepped down.
Yeah.
Like he basically eliminated his own job. He did leave Word Agents. And Jared, you were kind enough to remember an email you got a few weeks ago from the new CEO of Word Agents. So Vin, the founder and CEO of Word Agents, also stepped down.
I mean, Vin's been in this industry for I don't know how long. I feel like as long as I have, and probably longer. And I think Vin's been on our podcast, hasn't he? Didn't you interview Vin?
Yes, indeed.
Good guy by all accounts. I've had a lot of conversations with him. We've used Word Agents at my agency for different projects over the years. And so I remember being, surprised to see that information. I think it was, 3-4 weeks ago. And so they have a new CEO. I believe if I understood correctly, perhaps ownership changed and stuff. So a lot going on over there. We wish them the best, whatever that situation looks like. But in terms of news, it seems like we're having a hard time running away from agencies that produce content, really hurting. And probably, if I read into it, the agencies that had that were kind of maybe in a more precarious position financially at the time this hit are kind of the first ones to kind of cycle through.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So big seismic shift in how content is produced. Where will it be in 8 or 9 months from now? I don't know exactly. But there's some of the old guard, if you will, are struggling or have gone out of business or having major changes to the business. Again, we don't wish this on anybody. Yeah, Vin's a great guy. I hope that Word Agents is able to pull out of this and that they're able to restructure their business and move forward. But this is certainly news in the industry, especially because, Word Agents, Vin, has been on the Niche Pursuits podcast. I know a lot of listeners, a lot of my own friends have used Word Agents in the past. I've used Word Agents in the past. They're still around, so I can't talk to their quality of content currently or how that's changed, other than I imagine they have a much smaller team and they've had to lean up their operations, and they're fighting to stay in business currently because of AI generation tools.
Wish them all the best. Hope for the future. And, more and more we're seeing agencies adapt to AI also as a part of their service offerings. And so we'll have to see, not only as we see AI impacting agencies in this manner, but also in the way they produce content going forward.
And since we're talking about AI and Google, I guess I will share this final brief news article. Basically, Google, working with the Australian government, has said that all online content should be available for AI training unless publishers opt out. So Google wants to be able to scrape your content and use it for AI training unless you ask the Google bot to not come crawling, I suppose. And so Again, I don't know what this impact is. Australia clearly cares deeply about this subject, and so I'm sure they've been threatening Google, hey, you cannot use Australian publishers' content for free. You can't just willy-nilly come crawl their content and train your AI on that. And Google is arguing that, hey, we should be able to do that, as long as publishers don't opt out of that. We should be able to crawl it and train our AI bots to work even better.
Well, I can tell you from having studied behavioral economics in the past that if you ask publishers to adopt an opt-out rather than opt-in model, the majority will not opt out, and so the majority of content will be available to AI and Google's SGE. And if you adopt an opt-in, then the majority of content will not be available, and this has been studied a lot over the years through a variety of different things. And so I think that's probably why Google is coming in so heavy on this, because they kind of know the direction this is going to go if it becomes opt-in rather than opt-out.
Yep, exactly. So that's something to keep your eye on. Nothing actionable. Just know that there's continued rumblings with government agencies that are nervous, I would say, about AI and the future of content and how AI is trained. And so Google is in the middle of that. And of course, that eventually could impact us one way or another. So that's news as of this morning, I think. This just was announced. This just came out. So
I hope you're enjoying the podcast so far. Just wanted to take a short break and remind you that today's episode is sponsored by Search Intelligence. I've got a short clip from Ferry at Search Intelligence showing you how their agency built digital PR links to a client's website.
This campaign got us big links in websites such as Lifehacker, Wales Online, Daily Record, and about 20 other news websites. Let me show you how we've done it. We knew that people will be flying a lot this summer, and we knew that journalists will be writing about this topic a lot. So, on behalf of our client, we put together a nice guide about how to fall asleep on the plane. Then we use MuckRack to find journalists who write about travel. Then we put our advice in a nice email and send the tips to the journalists. Within just a few days, the links started landing, securing our client natural placements in really big websites, just like this, and this. This is a great example about how you can leverage seasonal trends to earn links to a website. Anticipate what journalists want to write about at all times and give them the stories that they need. They will reward you with some great, juicy links. I hope this is helpful.
Are you looking for similar link building PR campaigns for your website? If so, just go to search-intelligence.co.uk and get in touch with them today.
all right, very good. We are going to move on to our next section here in the podcast where we talk about our shiny objects. Now, before we do that, over the last few weeks, I've been mentioning that people can leave a review for the podcast on Apple Podcasts, on iTunes. And we, of course, love to see those. And we have a new one here just a couple of days old that I wanted to read
Did you find
on.
a better one this week? Last week's was a little harsh. I thought.
It had a little bit of criticism, for us. But this one's a little better. I found a nice one.
Need an ego boost this week.
That's right. And you are mentioned, Jared, so it will be an ego boost. There you go. So here, 5-star review. Ideas spark ideas. The value and knowledge I've gained from listening to Jared and Spencer is invaluable. Even when an episode doesn't necessarily relate to my website goals, I still listen because of how much creativity it speaks within my own business. My website is wildandswole.com. Fitness related, nothing dirty, stay wild. Wild and Swole.
I think swole would be a reference to the strength. What would that be? A slang term, I suppose.
Maybe so. Yeah, SWOLE.com. Wildandswole.com. So people can check that out. Thank you very much. It's kind of just a unique username, not really a name, but you know who you are. Thank you for leaving that review. Really appreciate that. So another 5-star review, Jared. We did it.
It's funny when we rolled this you're the one who came up with the idea of doing this weekly news segment and going beyond the news and kind of talking about shiny objects and weird niches and all this. And I mean, there was a lot where I was like, I don't know if anyone's going to care about this. I mean, the news, I get that makes sense, but I think a trending thought has always, especially with the weird niches and even the shiny objects, has always just been kind of just giving people inspiration to try stuff or think differently about things. And that's been a thread that people have definitely echoed. So that's great to hear.
Yeah. If there's one thing that I think ties Niche Pursuits together with all the episodes, not just the news, but the interviews and even all the blog posts, I hope that they just spark ideas or give inspiration or motivation. That's really the whole reason that we do all of this, is that we can share stories that inspire. We can share what we're working on, and sometimes it inspires. Sometimes, maybe it just tells you what to avoid.
Inspires you to go a different direction.
Exactly. And the weird niche sites, of course, maybe just give you ideas that are fun to think about and dream about. Maybe you'll never do, but it's fun to know that things like that exist. So let's jump into our own shiny objects here. I wrote down on the list, Jared and I, before the podcast, we always jot down what we're going to chat about so we stay organized here. And as soon as I finished writing, Jared had already written just below mine, which I hadn't read yet, is his YouTube channel. And so we're going to both talk about YouTube today. We didn't plan this. We're in the same sort of wavelength frequency for some reason here. So I wanted to give an update on my Faceless YouTube channel. I've talked about this. I think it's been a couple of months since I last chatted about it. But to give maybe a new listener an update, back in the day, I had built a Faceless YouTube channel that took off relatively quickly. There was essentially one YouTube video that got about 1 million views, and the channel was up to about $1,800 in 30 days in earnings on display ads, and doing well, crushing it, as they like to say. And
would you say the account was swole?
The account was very swole, very swole.
Sure, that's the right answer.
And I'm doing the happy dance, everything's going great. But then the copyright hammer came down. YouTube found that there was some copyrighted content on the channel, and I couldn't argue with them, although we tried to overturn that decision. They came back a second time and said, sorry, no, there is copyrighted content. Your video can stay up, but it cannot be monetized. And so our channel is, all the other videos are still monetized, but this one particular video that was, 99% of all the views and earnings cannot be monetized. And try as we might over the last couple of months, we have not been able to reverse that decision. So that's one update. The other update is that we kind of waited a while, and before publishing a ton of videos, we kind of wanted to see if we could figure out this situation. But recently we just started publishing more videos again, just this week. So that's why it's been top of mind, is we are now finally publishing new videos to see if we can replicate the success of that old video. And unfortunately, we have not been able to replicate the success of that video just yet. The videos are getting 300, 400, some of them are getting 1,000, 1,500 views within the first week or two, but it's nowhere near, 1 million view video within a few months, right? And so I just looked at the earnings over the past 28 days, and it's very depressing. My channel is earning $1.66 in the last 28 days. $1.66 in the last 28 days. So that is not enough to pay for a gym membership to truly get swole or anything like that. But $1.66 is where I'm at in the last 28 days with my Faceless YouTube channel. I wish I had better news, but I haven't given up. We're publishing new videos, and we're going to see where it goes from there.
When you say you're starting to publish videos again, have you already started that, or is that the agenda going forward? Yeah,
we just started one or maybe two earlier this week. So it's too early to really know what's going to happen with the traction there. I do have another, I guess, big update, is that I have decided to start a second channel.
Well, why not?
Right?
The first one's going so well.
It's going great. I mean, $1.66. Not everybody is able to do that, but I'm going to try a second channel, and that's in a different niche
Okay.
that has less risk of getting a copyright ban, if you will. This first channel, I think it's always going to be a challenge. I think any video at any moment is at risk of getting hit with a copyright claim. Whereas a second channel, we're going to try and stay away from that, of course, but still have videos that can get a lot of views, go viral, and still be faceless that I can outsource and have somebody else do. So I guess that's the big update, but no earnings, no big numbers to share.
Is there any other way to monetize? Because it sounds like you're still getting some views. Like, is there any other ways to monetize that? I know conversions off of YouTube are terrible, and oftentimes the people who make money from a YouTube channel but off YouTube are like selling merch, and they have 10,000, subscribers per day getting added and all that.
I don't think so. Nothing's
Yeah.
coming to mind that would be
Yeah.
easy to do. It's kind of just an entertainment channel that, it's not really building like a raving fan base or anybody that would probably buy a t-shirt or something. Maybe there could be something there, but probably not worth the effort unless we can get more videos to take off.
Well, I ask because this might come up again when I talk about my weird niche later on.
Oh, okay.
So-
all right, little tease.
Stick around, Spencer. Maybe you'll get your own set of inspiration for your
right.
your thriving faceless YouTube channel when we get to the weird niche segment.
All right. Well, I'm hooked. I'm not going to leave. I'll stay right here.
Okay, good.
I want to hear all about it. So I also want to hear about your YouTube channel. What's going on?
So, God, how do I work into this? Let me start with a question. Have you ever started a project and gotten partway into it, and I don't really know if anybody to say it, just forgotten about it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure I have.
Yeah. So my faceless YouTube channel that I'm talking about today is exactly that. Let me give a little bit of the backstory. So yesterday morning, literally, we're recording this today. This came up yesterday. I was sitting down having a cup of coffee in the morning, and if you have an iPhone, Apple will oftentimes alert you about like, hey, 1 year ago today, blah, blah, blah. The photo that popped up yesterday morning was of me taking a picture of us filming for a faceless YouTube channel 1 year ago.
Nice.
And I realized that I had forgotten all about it and hadn't checked it in probably 10 months at this point.
Is that right?
So a little backstory on it. Coming out of the May 2022 Google update, video made a big push in that update. We saw across a lot of client websites of our own, like not only was more video showing up in the SERPs from YouTube, but even articles and websites that incorporated embedded video into their articles also seemed to do pretty well as well. So last summer, in response, we had a website that was growing, did well during the May update, but wanted to maybe future-proof it a bit. And so we decided to start a faceless YouTube channel for it and just build out about 25 videos around enough topics that we could embed one of the 25 videos into every post on the website. And so we kind of tackled these higher level topics. Most of them were like 5 to 10 minute videos, and they were all faceless, like demoing stuff with voiceovers. And so we got those published, and we embedded them all back into the website. And I'd kind of in my head gone like, oh, mission accomplished. Like the website got what it needed, and I didn't really pay any attention to the YouTube channel itself. So yesterday, I discovered that I have a side project in the Faceless YouTube channel, and it's this project we did a year ago. So I popped open the results. Any guesses? You want me to share with you all the metrics about where this YouTube channel is at that was started? It's got 23 videos live and has not been touched in 12 months.
Well, is it making more than $1.66 in the past 30 days? That's
No.
what I want to know.
Because it's unmonetized, because when I last left it, it had 3 subscribers.
All right, so I beat you on that.
Yes, you did. I'll catch you
Only
up
because
here.
it's not monetized.
It's not monetized. No, but that's the interesting conversation here. So, these are not great videos, but they're not like AI videos. They're helpful. They're definitely helpful, but they're, it's just somebody talking on camera, holding something and demoing it. So here's where it's at. 435 subscribers.
Nice.
It's gotten 219,000 video views.
Decent.
The last 30 days, it's gotten 11,800 views.
Okay.
So immediately I was like, well, wait a second. Ever since YouTube, and we talked about it on the podcast a couple months ago probably, they lowered the monetization requirements. And as it turns out, monetization now for a YouTube channel is 500 subscribers. We're 65 away. And at least 3,000 watch hours, I think, in the last year or so. And we are at 6,200 watch hours.
Okay.
And you need to have 3 videos live in like the last month or 2 or something like that. Now, we haven't done that, obviously, but I thought, hey, if we can get 65 new subscribers and get a couple videos up, we can monetize this. We're pretty close. All right, so here's what we're doing. To get subscribers, thankfully, we've built an email list for this website. And so early this morning, we cranked out an email asking people to subscribe. We're up to 461 subscribers a couple hours in. So hopefully between that email and maybe in a second follow-up email, we might be at the 500 subscribers by next week. And then I thought, all right, we got to get 3 new videos. I really don't want to create new videos for this. Like, man. And then I remembered we have the Amazon influencer videos. And some of the products that were lying around my house that we made videos about were products we had bought to review for this website.
Is that right? Okay.
So 37 Amazon influencer videos in total would work well for this.
Nice.
And they are already over and on YouTube and live. And our designer was able to even crank out some custom thumbnails.
Okay, so you've got the requirements now for the videos. You're right there at the subscribers. You're about ready to get monetized.
So, I mean, let's be clear. At right now 12,000 monthly views, this is not going to be a home run in terms of profitability. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I don't know. Could be $100 a month.
Sure. And like any great shiny object, it's always the nugget of success that's like, okay, if it can make $100 a month, what would happen if I 10x that? What would happen if I 100x that? If I, that's where it gets exciting, right? Is you just start making that first dollar.
Yep.
And then how can we explode it
first
after
$1.66, Well, and you bring up a good point because all the 23 videos that are live, those are all like, we'll call them informational. So the only way they're going to make money is through ads on YouTube, which RPMs are, $3, $5, $10. But all the videos we just posted from the influencer program, they're all product focused. So we provided an affiliate link in each of them to the product that they reviewed. And so that'll be interesting to see if maybe there's some additional earnings that come in by recommending products from those videos. And if those end up getting, any substantial amount of traffic, you'd imagine that some people will buy with that affiliate link.
Yeah. So is the plan to get these, I think you said 37 videos, get those up and hopefully get monetized here in the next week and just wait and see what happens?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see what kind of money it makes. I mean, like you said, I'm just so curious. Are these new videos going to do well? Because if they are, like, you could make a case now, as we've talked about many times, like, okay, maybe we expand a lot of what we're doing on the website because now we can do it for both YouTube and for the website, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what's on the table, but we'll have to see. We're going to sit back and wait and watch.
Very good. Yeah, that's the beauty of side projects is a lot of them are wait and see. Try not to wait 12 months before you look at it again.
No.
But give it some time, see how it goes, and maybe next week or the week after or in a month, we can chat about it again right here.
It is very embarrassing. I have no excuse. First off, we did the whole segment on YouTube's new monetization. Why it didn't spark my memory then. You've been talking about a Faceless YouTube channel for how many times?
Yeah.
I have
6-7 months. Yeah.
Jeez, I don't know. I've been blinded by the influencer program, Shiny Objects. So yeah. Anyways, embarrassing as it is, I'm happy to share here about successes and our failures.
No, absolutely. I think there's comfort in probably other people listening of like, hey, you know what? I've done that before too. I started something, I forgot about it. And in your case, it's actually gained some traction without you looking at it. So that's nothing to be too terribly embarrassed about.
Could be worse.
I suppose you could be what I'm doing with my YouTube channel. It could be way worse.
Well, maybe that's the strategy, Spencer. Walk away for 12 months and come back and see what it looks like. I don't know.
All right. Well, I may do that whether I want to or not.
Yeah.
If this thing doesn't start making money. So very good. Let's wrap it up here with our weird niche sites. So each of us have one weird niche that we're going to share. These are things that we found out in the wild, websites that we've come across. And I'll let you go ahead and go first. I'm still trying to think about how to phrase mine exactly. It's a little bit off the wall, but yours looks pretty good. So what do you got?
A lot of people will probably have heard of this. It's failarmy.com. Now, if you haven't been to the website, it's an enjoyable watch. Speaking of embarrassing, my forgetting a YouTube channel pales in comparison to the videos that are on here. They are embarrassing to the next degree. It's basically, they say their tagline, new fails, the freshest fails daily. And it's just people doing bonehead things. It's not in the vein of like, I think, what was that show, like Jackass or something, where like they were intentionally trying to do dumb
Pranks.
things. These are like, almost like America's Funniest Home Videos, but
Right.
without all the cheesy effects going on. Like these are people, actually that's pretty much probably a pretty good description of what it is now at this point.
Yep. And if people are watching, I'm sharing my screen. It's going through, different videos. A lady on a horse falling into the river and other people falling off platforms getting wet or whatever, right?
That swimming pool accident looked painful, to be quite honest with you. Ooh, that didn't look like it.
Yeah.
And so, there's a lot to this site that I thought was interesting. First, we'll just talk about the metrics of the website and really unpack with this YouTube themed hour here. But the website is not the primary driver. As a matter of fact, it almost feels like nothing more than a landing page for the YouTube account. So the website is a DR47, but only ranks for 500 keywords. And so if you pull it up and the keywords it ranks for, I gotta imagine they're not even really driving that much traffic. Maybe a few of them are, but a lot of them are branded search terms and search terms for the products that they're selling, presumably via their YouTube account, the merchandise. The YouTube account is quite different. They're posting almost every day or every couple days. It has over 16 million subscribers.
Wow.
And so being that they're video driven, it makes sense that their YouTube account is where they're monetizing. But I think, to me, there's so much opportunity for the website. And that's obviously the SEO hat, the content creation hat we put on. But it just reminds me again about the power of being able to have a content core to what you do, to your brand. And then if you really are able to do it, mastering how to deploy that content across a variety of mediums, because they've nailed YouTube, but they have not nailed web. And there's so much opportunity, given just the sheer power that they have with their YouTube channel, to make their website into something so much more.
So what would you do? What would be your strategy to improve the website?
Well, I think that they could be doing a lot more with brand plays. I think that they could be doing a lot more with the content they get. I don't know about you might know more about this, but the rights to the content, I think when you submit your video, you are basically giving them permission to do with it whatever they want. So I could see a lot of different deployments of their content and getting sponsorships, turning them into, best ofs, and then getting those sponsored. I could see that just to get started. But I think brand plays, to me, is the big one. Like, there's a lot going on here that is very whimsical. It's very funny, and brands they're always looking to align themselves with lighthearted, fun, entertaining content.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Do you think that there's a written content play, or you think that's just so far out of the realm of what Fail Army does, they should just stick with video?
No, I do. Have you ever gone to Google and searched funniest swimming pool accidents or something like that, you have so many videos, and couldn't you compile top 10 lists of the funniest beach accidents, the funniest DIY home accidents, the funniest
Yeah.
car crash, or whatever it is, the funniest
And all
delivery
10 of
person.
them are your videos, right?
Yep.
So you're just getting more views on your channel,
You're
but
embedding YouTube content that you already own and that you already have. It's your channel. I've got to imagine listicles would I would think they would do well. I would think there's search content for that.
yeah, I agree. Funny videos involving toilet seats. I just see 2 of those here. Oh, maybe that's not a toilet seat. That's just a chair.
That's a chair.
Anyways, but yeah, I get what you're saying. There's probably thousands of listicle, topics that you could do. Yeah, you start getting a long tail of search through written content that really is, a list of all these videos. So that's a good idea. I like it.
I just
You're watching the videos playing
Yeah,
in
I'm
the
watching the
background.
videos and I'm
I
sort of
mean,
listening to you.
You can see the lady surfing on the machine. She's going to fall, right? It's just
This is gonna be a collision.
right.
Oh, I didn't see that coming.
Semi-collision, that's just not going to end well, I'm sure.
No, it does not
Yeah,
end well.
there you go.
There it goes.
So yeah, no, this is a good one. Clearly they're doing well. It's almost 17 million subscribers on YouTube, 443 videos, right? So
Well,
anyways,
that's not as many. Yeah,
not as many as I would have expected.
Same, yeah. And one final thought on that, but it gives all of us, like, if you started the other way and you have the website, but I mean, again, like, you agree, this is all user generated content, right?
Oh yeah,
Like,
for sure.
Yeah. So, like, really, this YouTube channel at its core could be handled by a VA and somehow attracting users, generating and submitting this type of content. Like, that's really all at its base that it is. I mean, there's a lot of ways to grow a YouTube channel, and if your niche, if you're up against it in terms of how much time and effort you have, like, man, interesting to think of something like this as a bolt-on.
Right. Absolutely. So a good business to think about, might give you some ideas, again, to spark in your own business that you might be able to apply or replicate in some way. So good find. Now, I've got a weird niche site here that I don't really know exactly how to describe this. So I'm going to just share it. This is called cyberspaceandtime.com. Now, it really, if I refresh my screen, maybe that would change it. No, it's remembers my browsing history. But when you first go here, it's just got like 50 videos embedded that are all from the creator of this particular website. And there's only a couple of pages. If you go to the About page, this is a very sort of retro feel type design website. And if you read the About page, he basically says he started as a way to practice his programming and design skills. He wanted to go for a feel of a website, and so he practiced all sorts of these things. He basically then created a player for YouTube videos. And so if I come over, I guess it didn't share I went to the About page. Here's the About page.
There it is. Yep.
Yes. And so it has a whole explanation, and he basically admits that by far what is this website? This is by far the most common question asked. And I have to say that the answer to that comes with a bit of a struggle for me. So he even struggles to explain what it is and then proceeds to spend, 500 words trying to explain what it is. I read all this. I still don't quite know exactly what it is, other than he was working on some programming skills, demonstrating, video editors or video demonstrating the editor and the web server of which he uses. Anyways, and so I feel like I'm rambling because I kind of am, because I don't know how to explain this really well. But what really baffled me is that if you come over here to SimilarWeb, it says right now that only 80,000 visitors a month come to the website, which is a decent sized website. But even just a couple of months ago, it shows 183,000, and then back in May, almost 500,000 visitors for the month.
Well, Spencer, I'll even one up you there. I'm just perusing the About page, and he goes on in one of the drop downs to say, as it is now, the website plays host to about 78,000 daily clicks from desktop users.
Is that right?
That's what it says. Under the section, I just stumbled upon this. Is it popular? That was my question.
Is it popular? Yeah.
Go up some. Go up there.
It's
right there. I just stumbled upon it. Is it popular? A couple more up. A couple more up.
Oh, okay.
There.
Oh, it starts with I. Okay. I still can't figure out where people are finding this.
That's
I
what
think
I mean.
they're
He says-
sharing it, I guess.
Well, here's what he says, if you can believe him. It's like this. Most people stumble upon this place via Google image or its web search. Some find it by clicking on special or social links. I thought it said special links. Social links placed on Facebook, Twitter, and Reddit. Some put it in their blogs, and some with a keen eye for unique things bookmark it and keep coming back.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I don't get what this website is doing. It's like Bizarro World.
yeah, so I popped in a URL, and I don't even know how to get back to that, but I had it pop in this video that shows full game highlights. It was just a random YouTube video that I saw, right? And so you can then watch this, in this player, right? That's kind of unique, I guess.
Yeah.
And I can't
So
even.
it's basically like a portal to experience the web from 20 plus years ago.
Yeah, there you go. So if you want to get a retro feel, you come to cyberspaceandtime.com. So here's where here's the more in-depth player that you can pop in a URL, right?
Oh, I don't think we're seeing it in the screen.
Oh, okay, let me share that.
Oh, there
Sorry
you go,
about
yeah.
that. And what I'm going to do here to give the full effect, let's see if I can quickly find a...
Sure, anything on this website is quick.
Yeah. So where am I at here? I got to find the right tab. So I found a URL for one of our interviews. So here we
Oh.
are. So now we can watch the Niche Pursuits podcast on cyberspaceandtime.com, right? With this unique interface. Again, I'm speechless, right? So whether it's getting 500,000 visitors a month, 1 million visitors a month, 80,000 visitors a month, I'm not quite sure. It's interesting. There are a few display ads, but other than that, it's not really heavily monetized.
Spencer, sorry, I hadn't seen this before you presented. I'm poking around. He shares Google Search Console data down there.
Oh, does he really?
Yeah, he does.
Look at
down in
that.
the purple section, the appendices.
Okay, well, let's... I didn't spend that much time diving into it, as you can see.
It's pretty. It does not support his
Google Search
78,000 a day. I'll tell you that much.
Well, I don't think most of it's coming from search, but that is interesting.
That's a good point.
It's well, wow, 50. So if I'm reading that right, he had 58,000 clicks
From search.
on August 27th, whatever year that was.
Yeah.
So that's a lot.
2019? August 27, 2019.
Okay, 2019.
Oh, yeah. He had 58,000 clicks in one day.
So there you go.
And I mean,
Ahrefs doesn't really show that.
no,
You know?
Ahrefs does not show any of that.
So I don't know where it's coming from. Is it all branded search?
Well, it's not. Yeah, it's not social. So he did say that it does very well in Google image search.
So that's probably what's going on.
Usually that's because it says search type web. Normally in Google Search Console, that would be identified under image search, not web search.
Right.
Although
Yeah.
maybe back in 2019 they didn't differentiate that way. I can't remember
that's
if
possible.
GSC had that tab there at that time, but
So I think this raises more questions than answers, if I'm honest.
I don't know what I would do with this either in terms of my niche, but it is a fascinating website.
Yeah, I was preparing for this and I ran across this site and I spent like 20 minutes just kind of looking at this site and trying to figure out what it did. And I hadn't come to really any conclusions, but I'm like, this is weird enough. We just need to share it. And so people can check it out, cyberspaceandtime.com. If you want to try and figure out how it's making money, if it's making money, it appears to be getting a bunch of traffic. people must embed this, watch YouTube videos, and kind of use this retro old time feel browsing experience.
I mean, I don't want to ask you to reveal your sources, because a bit like journalists, we all have our ways we find our weird niches.
Yeah.
And, I don't really talk about that. It's kind of, we keep it close to the vest. But generally speaking, where did you find this? I mean, this one I have to ask about.
Well, I have come across a treasure trove of a list of like weird niche sites.
Ah, okay.
So
That would be a treasure
essentially, I found somebody that has compiled a list of sites in the past, and I've been digging deep into their list to pull out the real gems that make sense to share.
That's a good one.
So there you go. I guess we did it. We got through everything. We shared
That one might be the weirdest niche we've ever done in just brass tacks in terms of like, we're only even beginning to figure out what the heck it even serves as a purpose.
Right. I can't think of why I would ever go back still, but people must. And so, yeah, I'm a little bit baffled why so many people are visiting the website, but I love it because there's so many different ways you can look at the internet, get traffic to your website, and this is clearly one of those ways. How people can implement that for themselves, I don't know exactly, but maybe it will spark something. And so, again, that's the goal of this podcast, is hopefully to just spark some ideas for people.
That's great. Great.
So we've covered the news. We've covered our side hustles. We've covered our weird niche sites. So thank you, everybody, so much for listening to the podcast. And we hope that you continue to do well in your own business. If you want to follow along with additional podcasts or with the Niche Pursuits newsletter, just go to nichepursuits.com/newsletter, where I send out a couple of emails a week to update you on any new podcast episodes or anything new going on in my business. So with that, thank you so much for listening today, and I hope everybody has a great weekend.
Have a great weekend.
Today's episode is sponsored by Search Intelligence. Here's a short clip of Ferry from Search Intelligence showing you how their agency built digital PR links to a client's website.
What a crazy campaign. How to sleep on your back. This campaign got us links in Huffington Post, Glamour magazine, Mirror, and lots of other great news publications. Let me show you how we've done it. It was so simple. Our sleep client provided us with expert commentary about how to train yourself to fall asleep on your back. They also gave advice on why it's best to sleep on your back. Once we've had this information, we went to Muckrack and searched for journalists that consistently write about sleep and well-being. We've sent these journalists the advice provided by the client, and within one day the links started flowing in. Glamour magazine, a DR81 website, picked it up. Huffington Post, DR88, Mirror UK, DR90, a massive avalanche of links blasted through our client's website with this simple yet effective campaign about how to sleep on your back. I hope this inspires, and I hope you'll use this technique to land massive links to your or your client's website.
Thanks for joining us today on the podcast. Just a final reminder that it was brought to you by Search Intelligence. And if you're looking for link building PR campaigns for your website, just head over to search-intelligence.co.uk and get in touch with them today. Cheers.